Hello and welcome to Midlife Magic, a unique channel for unique women. I'm Colleen. I'm a midlife coach, crystal addict, and lover of all things woo-woo. Today we're talking about 31 days. How did that happen? It seems like only just a couple of days ago, I was on a Zoom call with Tracy Phillips, and she said we had 79 days left this year. And I was trying to plan all the things that I was going to get done. And then bam, here I woke up this morning and there's 31 days left. What did I do with the 48? What did you do with your 48 days? Well, I have to admit that I did accomplish some things and I didn't accomplish some things. But overall, I think I did pretty good. I showed up. I tried hard. I gave it my all, almost every day. And that's the best that we can hope for. We aren't going to be 100% on 100% of the time. And we just have to recognize that. So as we come into December and we're headed into January and the new year, and let me forewarn you, this whole message is going to be a little convoluted. It's not super clear. It's my ramblings. So there's this whole resolution thing that hits us every year around middle of December or so. What will your resolution for the new year be? And why do we do that to ourselves? Why do we set ourselves up that after one of the busiest times of the year, the one of the most stressful for a lot of people, the most expensive for a lot of people, and then bam, we're going to give ourselves some major challenges. And then in 2 weeks, we fall flat, splat, and don't accomplish what we set out to do. So maybe the answer to that is maybe January shouldn't be your resolution time. Maybe it should be September or October. I don't know. You pick what works for you. But maybe also a quarter solution might be more doable. Rather than jam it all into 1 month and make it all one start, why not take those 3 things or 2 things or 5 if you're very ambitious and put them to work in a quarter and see how that works for you. So how do you want to see this year end? And how do you want the next year to start? This is a really good time to take stock. As you're doing your Christmas baking or wrapping Christmas gifts or decorating your tree, you're in the moment. And that's a time to give your mind a little bit of clarity. What do I really want? What do I really want my life to look like? Take stock of what the past few months have been like. What worked for you? What didn't? Because if you keep doing what you've always done and you're not happy with it, you know that you're always going to get what you've always gotten. I happened today upon an email, and I'll be honest, I'm probably like you. When you see my email in the inbox, hit delete, hit delete. I do that a lot because I get so many emails. But one hit my inbox today, and I actually read it, and it was Nancy Levin's email. And 2 things stood out for me in her email. And one was, quote, "Are you deciding to go along to get along?" In other words, are you just going along with things just to get along with everyone? Is it maybe not what you want to do? And then the next part that she says, if you feel guilty, guilt is good. Guilt is an indicator that you're on the right track. Guilt is a signal that you are honoring your own needs. It all comes back to permission. People just want permission to do what they want to do. How awesome is that? That guilt is actually an indicator that you're on the right track. So let's talk 2023. So you hear it on the news, although I don't listen to much news anymore. I've kind of shut that down because it's never a good day. And besides, if there's something really, really important happening very close to you, you're going to probably know about it. Like I did last night, sitting at on the chair, and all of a sudden everything shook. And I was like, holy shit, we're having an earthquake. I don't know if there's ever been an earthquake this far north in Canada, but we did. Not a very big one, no damage. Well, none to my home anyway. But it was a real live earthquake. And I was like, come on already. We've had enough natural disasters here. We don't need any more. But it was an earthquake. And it stuck with me. It made me sit up. It made me pay attention. So there's talk that 2023 isn't going to be any of it an easier year. And that might well be. So what can we do to navigate the unknown? Even if they said it was going to be a good year, it's still unknown. We won't know until it actually happens. So here's a few little tips. Pay attention to your frequency and the frequency of those people and things around you. Both positivity and negativity are both contagious. So I'm recommending, if you're going to catch something, catch the good stuff. Catch the positive. Sail in that direction. It seems that it's our nature as humans that we just want more. We just want more, always more. More money, more looks, more food, more clothes, more purses, just more of everything. So that's when we can step back and really look at where we put our energy and where we put our thoughts. We all know that energy goes where intention flows. So be careful how you spend and use your energy. It's a very, very valuable resource. Treat it as such. Be kind, be good, and really, really honor the energy that you do have. It's one of your most valuable resources right next to your intuition. So you create the reality you desire. And you create that reality by not focusing on the reality you are in. There's a lot of people not in great places right now. There's a lot of people that are suffering. There's a lot of people that are hurting. There's a lot of people in financial stress, mental stress, emotional stress. And if you focus on just that, your reality, then you aren't able to be creative, to create the reality that you really want, the reality that you really desire. So in order to manifest your dreams and your desires, you must set a specific intention and imagine it as if it's already yours. It's a very, very powerful exercise. It's like visioning. So you set your intention, you visualize it as though it's already happened. How does that make you feel? It's already yours. How do you feel? Sit with that, embrace that. And don't get me wrong here. This isn't you sitting on the couch, waiting for the heavens to open and shower you with everything you want. You have to get off your ass in order to get things accomplished and to get where you want to go. Taking brave or inspired action it's a type of freedom. It's excitement. You feel good. You've accomplished something. You've demonstrated something. Even if it doesn't go as fast as you'd like or in the exact direction you would like, action is freeing. Inaction is crippling. So if you're feeling really in a dark spot and you're feeling like it's impossible, definitely know you aren't alone. There are people in the same or worse or better situations, but there are people that are willing to help you and to get you back on your feet. But you have to stand on your feet first. No one can do that for you. So intention, attention, and attitude. It's all you need. Intention, attention, and attitude. It's an inside job. It's all within us. Even those things that are completely out of our control, which there's a lot of things that are out of our control, but how we translate that is what makes a difference for us. It's what you make the story mean to you. It's how you relate that story, what part you put yourself into. Are you going to be the victim or the victor? Are you going to be the participant or are you going to be the resilient? It's an inside job and it's all about taking 100% responsibility. As we go into this new year, I'm asking that you maybe take a few minutes and check in with what your values are. Have you checked in on your values lately? Have they slid? Do you need to amp them up a little bit? Do you need to know who you are again? You need to know what you're made of. You got this. You're tough. You got the stuff that can take you to anywhere you want. And then whatever you're doing, if you don't feel like it or you don't love it, it just isn't going to work. It needs to juice you. So whatever you're doing, even if it's a job you don't love, find something about that particular, whether it's the job or the environment or your desk or the office, find something that juices you. Help you get through the stuff that don't juice you. Surround yourself with juicy people. You hear it all the time. You are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Well, if those are all 5 negative people, you've got some making up to do. And we can't always pick and choose who we have around us. So if you do have 1 or 2 or even 5, kind of people that don't juice you, then you really got to amp up and find the ones that do to help get you through those tougher times. The whole be, do, have stuff. When I don't know how it goes. You work a job you don't love, you get a bunch of money, and then you'll be happy. Or when I get this, then I'll do this, and then I'll be this. It's all crap. In order to get to where you want to go, you have to be who you want to be. You have to do what needs to be done in order to get what you want or what you have. So you need to hear and acknowledge your own limitations. We are our own worst critics. We are the ones that are in our way more than anything else on this planet. So get out of your own way. Don't judge people, and least of all, don't judge yourself. Don't negotiate or barter with yourself. Boy, are we ever good at that. If I do this, I get this. Oh, I got so busy with this, I had to put that off till tomorrow. Did you really? Or was that an excuse? If you can't be honest with anyone else, or you can't speak your truth At least know your truth. Always know your truth. It's okay if you don't do it all. Nobody's going to know. Nobody's going to strike you down. Lightning's not going to hit you. But just know, give yourself that honesty. And don't forget about your boundaries. Boundaries are huge. We tend to break boundaries all the time. I don't want to do that, but I feel like I have to. I don't want to go here, but so-and-so will be there. And if I'm not there, then they might say this, or they might think this, and on and on and on the monkey mind goes, and it's just crap. Set your boundaries, be true to yourself, be good with yourself. And don't worry about your life purpose. The term is overrated, and it will probably change numerous times, and that's okay. But what I like to think is, what's my sole purpose right now? And my sole purpose today might change tomorrow, or it might change next week, or it might change next month, or in 3 months. Or my sole purpose today might still be my sole purpose in 1 year. But the whole thing of a life purpose or a soul purpose, maybe other than Mother Teresa, I mean, we are always evolving. We are always changing. And so was she. She had a purpose, but it wasn't her entire life purpose. It was part of her purpose. It was part of her soul. It was who she was. So don't get caught in that. And know that every day can be a different day, a different reason. You might wake up and there's been a natural disaster in your neighborhood. Are you going to just focus on what yesterday's soul purpose was or life purpose? Or are you going to focus on what your purpose is for that day? Don't get too hung up on that kind of stuff. Being in the moment is when you are focused and engaged. And we hear a lot about that. But I think we overdo that as well. It's important to be in the moment. I've learned I was an amazing superwoman multitasker. But when I look back, I could get all that done, but I was probably working 14, 16 hours a day. And maybe if I'd only done one thing at a time, I'd have gotten it done much quicker, much better, and I'd only had to work 12. Or maybe I'm just getting old and slow. I'm not sure. But just try to be a little bit more present. I'm not always present. Sometimes I've got an audiobook going, a YouTube on mute, and I'm playing on my phone, and I'm making notes. I might be listening to a mastermind and crocheting and drinking tea. So, but cut yourself some slack, but try to be mindful and focused and in the moment, because sometimes that's where the magic is. I always say no rules, and I believe that's true. It's life. It's our life. Who makes our rules? So don't let rules stop you. You hear something like the life purpose, and you don't quite resonate with that part of it, question it. Keep questioning it. Just question till you find your answer. Excuse me. You can find all kinds of suggestions and things and stuff you should do, stuff you shouldn't do, stuff you should try to do. But you have to find what works for you. Otherwise, you're not going to do any of it. There is no one size fits all, no rules. So be open, be curious, be patient with yourself, cut yourself some slack. Try to trust yourself and your intuition. And that's a tough one too. But give it Give it some time. Start flexing that muscle, and in time you'll see it really will kind of keep you on your toes. Let go of shit. I love this one, because wouldn't it be wonderful if we could all just be a pro at that? Yeah, I got all this going on in my little world, and you tell me to let go of that shit, and I'm like, are you kidding? How's that going to happen? But I was on another webinar the other day. God, is that all I do is go on webinars? And she said, when those thoughts come into her head, she has started, it's Amber Annette, by the way, and she has started to tell herself, that really isn't very attractive on you. So instead of saying, that's a negative thought, get a positive thought, or instead of saying, oh, you shouldn't think that, or you should do this, or you should do that, I kind of like that. You just tell yourself, yeah, that's not very attractive on you. And it puts the whole idea of that thought in a different perspective. You don't have to totally let it go. You just have to recognize it's just not great for you. Maybe you could give it a little bit of a push. So we talked about trusting yourself and your intuition. Oh, and then the pie. So you have to, when we look at our lives, we look at, I don't know, relation, like anybody that's done any of those programs where they talk about your life, the life is a pie. And there's one for relationships, and one for love, and one for career, and one for money, and one for health, and whatever they all are. But, and then they want you to color it and then work on the section of the pie that needs the most work. But you can't just look on one section of the pie. You have to look at the whole pie, because you can't make a one piece of pie. You need the whole pie in order to make one piece. It just doesn't work. So they talk about life and work balance and things like that. And I think there's something really true there, because when I colored my little wheel of life, you know, there's 2 or 3 sections. So then I would focus on those. Well, what about the other 5 or however many pieces there are? What about those? Ignore those, let those go out the window. Pretty soon then they're going to have no color left in them. So it's the whole thing. You got to look at the whole pie. You're not just one part. You're not just one piece of the pie. So that's my pie thing. Keep good care of your whole pie. Yes, if you're having issues in one area, it might take more of your time, but don't give it all of your time. Don't give it all of your focus. Don't give it everything you've got. Otherwise, all the other pieces of the pie are going to suffer, and it'll show up. That's why often you see if somebody is having problems in a relationship or with money, then you'll see their health decline. It's because you gotta balance it all. You can't just dive into that one piece of the pie that's all screwed up. There, I'm done with the pie for now. All right. I think I'm done with the pie for now. Anyway. And the ego. Boy, did I fight that guy for a long time. But you can't. It's part of you. So, you know, accept your ego. It's better to deal with the devil you know than the one you don't. And you can usually train the one you know, or at least keep it on a leash. It's kind of like when you're training the puppy. It doesn't do what it's supposed to, you put it back on the leash. And you kind of work with it. You gotta work with it. You gotta work with what you've got. Your ego is part of you. So now let's talk about some good stuff. So be grateful. You can never have enough of grateful. Even when it feels like you can't be grateful, there's always something. Just be grateful. Find something every day. Sorry, my nose is really itchy. Because you can't truly be great, or you can't be, if you're truly grateful, then you can't be unhappy. They just don't work. Get back to basics. If your life has got a little bit out of control and you're feeling like you're spinning and things aren't going the way you would like, or I don't know, whatever it is, kind of just cut it back to basics. Go back to the beginning. For some, that might be meditating. For me, it's my garden or my plants. I'm having one of those days where it's just like the brain won't shut down. Everything seems like it's ready to blow. If it's 40 below, I'll just take one of my plants and I'll sit at the kitchen table and just kind of prune it or deadhead it or whatever, clean it up a little bit. Just spend some time, get back to basics. So I dare you and I dare me, and I challenge you and I challenge me to challenge ourselves. Set a goal that's far enough away that you are stretching yourself, but not stressing yourself. And whatever you do, give it your all. Always try to give it your all. Yes, we don't have to have perfection. That's not what I mean by give it your all. I mean, give it your all. Be fully invested. Never stop growing. Keep yourself motivated. Tell yourself one good thing about yourself each day. We all have something good out of one, somewhere in that 24-hour period. Take pride in yourself and in your strengths. We can always find something wrong with ourselves. So I challenge you, find something right. Or as Elvis says, a little less talk and a lot more action. Declutter. That always helps clean things out, whether it's mentally, electronically, physically, any of it. And even if you think you're not creative, be creative. Go to the dollar store and buy a coloring book. Even you can color within the lines. Or, no rules. If you want to color out of the lines, go right ahead. Find enjoyment in the simple things. Just even a photograph. So my fridge looks like a bit of a disaster. It's floor, top to bottom, wide to wide, photographs. And some of them are honestly older than my children. So the edges are frayed. If there's a picture of somebody eating spaghetti, there's probably spaghetti sauce on the picture. But I cannot help that every time I open that fridge, there's someone on there or something that catches my eye, that makes me smile or takes me back to a moment that I could hug or laugh or just feel so grateful. I will never ever, I know it's like a 1970s or 80s decorating thing, but no matter where I go and no matter how old I am, I'm always going to have my fridge of photographs. It's my spot. So we become so overloaded electronically. And I know we hear unplug, unplug, unplug. But the world is plugged in. So we are too. So that would be another challenge for yourself. Maybe if you have to be on the computer, have something playing that's binaural music or frequencies or something that just kind of helps keep your brain a little bit set better so that you're just not overtaken by the electronics. Simple, 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 back to basics. Ground yourself, ground yourself, ground yourself, ground yourself. And yep, life is what you make it. and you are enough. I hope that this gave you a little bit of insight, and I would love to hear your takeaways, your agrees, your disagrees. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.